Kevin Palmieri left a six-figure job, hit rock bottom, and rebuilt his life by mastering podcasting, mindset, and self-awareness. Today, he's leading others to their next level without shortcuts. This episode of the Rebel Rebel is brought to you by my book, Brand Jitsu. All right, forget brand theory. This is branding that punches above its weight. After 25 years helping artists, entrepreneurs, and businesses stand out, I wrote Brand Jitsu. Move your brand from meh to memorable. It's the real stuff, story, strategy, and sharp positioning that makes people pay attention. Find it at your favorite bookstore or online at brandjitsu.com. Well, welcome to the Rebel Rebel. I'm your host, Michael Dargie, and somewhere across the world, I'm not sure where, we're going to find out very shortly, I've got Kevin Palmieri. How the hell are you, sir?
I am doing very well. So I told you behind the scenes, I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
I think my okay today is far better than my living the dream used to be. So I'd say I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Oh, good. All right. And just catch us up. Where are you in the world?
I live in New Hampshire.
Right. Very nice.
New Hampshire. We got some snow on Christmas Eve. So there's still some snow on the ground. It's wonderful.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yes.
Outstanding. And just so that we can, frame of reference, what is it that you're up to right now professionally? And then we'll dig into how you got there.
Yeah. So I host two top 100 podcasts.
That's
one
amazing.
is called Next Level University. It has 1,930 episodes. The other one is called Podcast Growth University. It has 130 episodes. So that is really what I do today. I do a minimum of 8 episodes a week. And now I also have the pleasure and privilege of coaching 50 some odd podcasters every month.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's weird, Michael. This whole thing has gotten out of hand.
Okay, what does that mean? Like, I'm excited, and I'm going to pick your brain.
Please. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, you kind of know how it is when you start to get a result in something. People start to ask you for help. Mm-hmm. So in 2019, somebody asked me if I would help them produce their podcast. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I don't know why you're asking me. And they said, you have 300 episodes, Kev. I'm sure you know what you're doing. So that was my first ever quote unquote client. And then we opened up a production company from there. And then I started speaking on podcasting. And then I started a podcast on podcasts. So yeah, now my goal is essentially to be one of the podcast guys. That's really what I'm shooting for now at this point.
That's so cool.
That's
a lot of episodes, brother.
Yeah.
Like that's significant. Does your main revenue in podcasting come from coaching, or does it come from ad? Like
all of our revenue. So we've never done an ad. We've never done a sponsorship. We've never done an affiliate. I think we tried doing it. We tried doing the affiliate thing, and we didn't get enough sales fast enough. So Amazon was like, "You guys are small fries. Get out of here." But yeah, everything has come from coaching. In the very beginning, I started this because I just wanted to have cool conversations with cool people just like you. Like this is what I want.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going through some mental health stuff. I had suicidal ideations. I ended up leaving my job. And I said, if I could do this full time, I would be the most fulfilled human on the planet. Well, all my money ran out pretty quickly. And I had to figure out a way to make money. And we were a self-improvement podcast. So it made sense to coach people on self-improvement. And that's where this whole business kind of started.
Right. Far out. What is your favorite part during an episode?
Usually story. I really, really, really enjoy storytelling because that's where most of the gold is buried anyway.
Yeah.
There's a lot of intricacies and depending on how complex you want to get. So I really love telling stories. One, it reminds me of things that I just forgotten about over the years.
Yeah.
And then two, I think if you can tell a powerful story, you can really take a lesson and then make it memorable. There's no shortage of how-tos.
Right.
The how-tos are out there, but until it lands with you in a unique way, it's really hard to take it and run with it. So probably storytelling, I would say.
Very cool. If you could go back in time, what is it that do you think sort of drove you here? Like, were you 7 years old, riding a BMX? I don't know. Like, what was the moment for you?
I was interviewed on a YouTube channel, and it was about fitness and mindset and grit. And we did like an 1.5-hour interview. Mm-hmm. And at the end, I said, that felt like it was 5 minutes. Imagine if you could do that for a living. That was it for me. That was the seed was planted. And I always felt like I kind of was a rebel in the way of, I wanted to fight mixed martial arts professionally when I was in high school. I went to the fire academy to be a firefighter. I didn't want to do what everybody else was doing. I always wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
But it never seemed realistic. And this was the first thing that I actually felt like I could pursue and see what happened. I did not, very transparently, I did not think I'd be where I am today. Very honestly, I didn't. But yeah, I fell in love with communication.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. What's your backup plan? I bet you don't have one.
No. Yeah, no. This was the backup of the backup of the backup plan. And luckily this one stuck and we've been able to turn into a pretty successful and impactful business. So yeah, we're good. We should be good for the future as long as we keep doing what we're doing.
Oh, I love it. That's great. So you do 8 episodes a week.
Yeah.
That's man, that's so much. And like, do you have trouble finding guests?
No guests, Michael.
Oh,
we do stuff very strangely and
interesting. Tell me more.
we did the whole guest thing, and we had some really big guests. We had Dean Graziosi, and we had some really big guests in our space.
Yeah,
and they were all great. And then it got to the place where I realized that we have to have a pretty high level of responsibility to share certain stuff with our audience with the understanding that it's true.
Okay.
And it got to the place where I just didn't want to have to push back on people and say, look, that's not how you got the success. It was actually this. I read it in your book.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be that guy, and I didn't want to be that interviewer. So we decided 3 years ago, I think, that we were just going to do purely solo episodes.
Far out.
And we were going to talk about our stories and our experience and what has worked with our clients. Yeah. That way, at least we know what we're talking about has worked with what we've experienced.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And we're going to share more about us than maybe other people would. And I want to be vulnerable. And most of all, I want the audience to grow with us.
Right.
That's a very important thing for me is if you've been with us since 2018, you have seen the highs and the lows. And there's been a lot of lows for sure.
Tell me about a low.
2019. So I left my job in 2018 to do this full time. 2019, my car broke down. I couldn't afford to get it fixed. I couldn't afford to pay my car insurance. So I got sent to collections. I couldn't afford to buy my now wife Christmas presents that year. I mean, it was just absolutely brutal is this going to work? Am I ever going to make any meaningful amount of money? Even enough to support myself. Like I'm not asking for much. I just want enough money to survive.
Yeah.
That was huge. Some of the biggest opportunities we've gotten. So Dean Graziosi was one of our biggest interviews. It was the first time we ever used this camera as a webcam. So when he logged on, it was blurry as all heck. Uh-huh. And he had a moment and we could see where he thought to himself, what am I doing here? Have I made a massive mistake? That was, I thought that interview was going to be the one that catapulted us to the top. And here I am. It's barely usable on YouTube. So that, and then I think most business owners deal with this at some point. I didn't understand how challenging it was to be a leader and how much it hurts when people leave the team and have not so nice things to say.
Yeah.
That has been way more challenging than I expected because I never anticipated that. So we've had a team now for 4 years and it's been as high as I think 25 people. Right now, I think there's 17. There's a lot that goes on internally that nobody ever sees.
Yeah.
And that's some of the hardest stuff for sure.
Wow. What's pick the high for me. What's the high point?
Earlier this year, on the same day, I think it was a random Wednesday, we crossed 1 million listens and $1 million earned in the business.
Oh, amazing.
And it was a very weird, surreal, there was a lot going on in my head that day. So that was probably the highest high because most people said we would never get there. I had another very interesting thing happened this year where I got the opportunity to speak with one of he used to be my mentor and is now a friend, Evan Carmichael. Mm-hmm. But I had this very challenging internal thing going on where I got the message and he said, "Hey, I'd love to have you come up to Toronto and speak to my mastermind." And then, Michael, I immediately thought to myself, I don't want to do this. This opportunity I've got is amazing, but I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough.
Oh, no.
All of the internal imposter syndrome stuff popped back up. And very honestly, that's something I've been battling with since we started this. So that's another one of it's not a down. It doesn't seem like a down.
Yeah.
But it's a consistent pressure, I would say.
Far out. Yeah. So I'm assuming you went and did it.
I did it. I didn't want to. Yeah. I didn't want to. The lesson for me in that was when you work really hard on yourself internally.
Yeah.
I think self-improvement is the thing. You get an external opportunity.
Right.
In order to actually do the external opportunity, you have to do more internal work to actually get the courage to do it. And then it becomes this beautiful / terrifying cycle.
Yeah.
And that's really all it's been for the last 8 years. I get an opportunity I don't think I can do. Mm-hmm. I anxiety prep for it.
Yeah.
Goes better than I expect. Uh-huh. It instills belief, and then I take another shot, and it's become this very interesting cycle of growth that I think is just very hard to explain until you experience it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think putting yourself out there is always a challenge, whether you're about to step foot on stage or, you swing for the fences, with whatever you're doing for business and you don't have a plan B. You're just doing this thing. Man, that's what a ride.
It's been weird. It's been very weird.
What's something that you do just for you? What's a guilty pleasure for Kevin?
I love fast food. I'm a bodybuilder, but I love fast food. Taco Bell is like my favorite restaurant on the planet. I know the food's not quality. I don't care. It's great. And I would say the other thing is I love rapping. I love writing music and rapping. That's something that it all seems to align. I think I'm supposed to be in front of a microphone in some way. It makes sense when you start to peel apart the pieces, but that's something I do just for me. I share it on social media, but I just like the creative process, and it allows you to show a different side of yourself. Very cool.
This is going to be a dumb question, but some people would say that you're brave. Courageous maybe is a better word. What would you say to that?
Ooh, that's the quote unquote dumbest questions are the best ones. I would say I've had to be very courageous in order to face many of the fears that I have. Yeah, I would say that I'm the most courageous and bravest I've ever been, for sure.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
What's something that you haven't done yet that you want to do that's on your bucket list?
My wife wants to swim with sharks.
They're gorgeous.
Yes, a lot of things are gorgeous from a distance, a safe distance. So that's probably, I think that's a fear that I would like. So planes are my number one fear. Right. And I've done a good amount of flying. So that's something I've worked on. Mm-hmm. And then sharks are a very close number two. So I think probably cage diving with great whites is on the bucket list. I just hope it's not the last thing on the bucket list, but it is on the bucket list.
Oh, that's wild. I did, just before the pandemic, we were in Maui, and I'm a scuba diver, and I was doing a PADI certification called a naturalist dive. And the guy's just like, so what do you want to do during this dive? I'm just like, I want to dive with a shark. Like, I know I've been diving with lots of sharks. I just have never seen them. Right. And yeah, so we went out, and dude, it was incredible. Like, no cage, just swimming along. And he's like this, that means shark. And there's, this 7-8 foot blacktip reef shark just, cruising in the shallows, comes up, zips away. We saw 15 sharks that dive. Dude, it was so great. And they're just like big wet dogs.
What perspective did that give you that you look back on and say, I didn't have that perspective before?
I think it's something that I just know from diving is that we are in an alien world when we are underwater. It's just a completely separate. It's so different than the surface world, and we're a visitor. But it has its own rhythm, right? Like, and you can feel the rhythm, and it's good. It's I don't know. So I guess I had that perspective before, but not until you see like these huge animals. You're like, Jesus. So I don't know. I loved it. I could stay down there forever.
Well, I'm going to take that as a sign that maybe in the future it'll happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to go right to great white. You could start with, dogfish or.
Yeah. But if you're going to do it.
Yeah. Might as well. You talked about your, your fast food. But you mentioned bodybuilding, so I'm curious, how do you keep yourself motivated? And do you have those cycles as well where you're up and down and you're like, oh man, I don't want to do the gym today? Or is it like the gym is my church?
No, I very often don't want to. I just know that I'm more fulfilled. I had this conversation with my wife recently. I said, honestly, I'm just more fulfilled when I'm in better shape. Yeah. I am, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I just am. I feel better about myself. I'm more consistent with other stuff. I'm more dialed in. So I would say, I don't know, 75% of the time I'm excited to go. Yeah. 25% of the time I have to drag myself there. But 99.9% of the time I'm grateful I did it. Yeah. So I just try to, it's the same with podcasting. I don't always want to do episodes. Sure. But I'm always grateful I did. And that for me is a sign of alignment. So I try to keep that in mind. Yeah. And it's also part of the brand, right? Sure. That's a piece of it too, it's going to be very hard to talk about health, wealth, life, and love if I'm divorced, out of shape, and I don't have any money. It's going to be really hard. So I got to make sure I'm working on those at least. Yeah, that's fair. How many tattoos? Oh man, I guess it's 2. One that goes, so I have a sleeve that goes up to my chest, and then I have one that says never quit. Nice. So I guess 2, but one very large one and one kind of very small one. Uh-huh. All right, very nice. And what's the sleeve? So it start on my chest. It's an angel and devil playing chess for control of the world. Love it. And the devil's winning, unfortunately. And then I have a rose coming through concrete on my tricep. And then the big piece is so I didn't know my dad. I didn't meet my dad until I was 27. So the one on my forearm is a man and a child walking through the forest, but there's no connection. They're trying to hold hands, but there's no connection because that was my experience. And the forest is just filled with ghouls and goblins because I feel like for most of my life, honestly, I just kind of had to figure stuff out by myself. Yeah. And sometimes life feels like a forest filled with ghouls and goblins. That's been some of my experience, at least. So I always said if I was going to get tattoos, I was going to try to make them meaningful. Yeah. And that was after I got the barbed wire when I was 16. That's how I knew. I was like, maybe we'll realign here later in life. Oh, that's awesome. Let's say I don't know where in New Hampshire you are. It doesn't matter, but let's say you're walking through a forest. There's got to be a forest close of course to there, I would imagine. And it's beautiful day. Sunlight is, streaming through the leaves and dappling on the ground, and you can smell that earth. And there's a twig snapping in the distance. That kind of you can feel that, and you're thinking to yourself, what is the one thing that I wish the world knew? I think the only way to really, really make your life better in a meaningful, sustainable way is to improve yourself first. There's so many examples of people winning the lottery and then ending up more broke than they were before. That's a self-improvement issue. It's not the money issue. It's a self-improvement issue. Yeah. So that's the thing that's changed my life more than anything. Would people listen? I don't know, because I probably wouldn't have listened back in the day either. Yeah. But that's the thing that I am trying to impact the world with, because I think everything starts and ends with us. That's awesome. Did you read a lot? Yes. What's one of your go-to
books, maybe something you've read more than once, or one that's just sort of stuck with you that, oh man, I just love this book?
The Compound Effect is a really good one. I'm a big fan of The Compound Effect. I've read The Flywheel by Jim Collins multiple times. I'm rereading that again. So yeah, mostly Mindsets by Carol Dweck is a great book. That's one of my favorites. But it went from like self-improvement, habit building, spirituality, and then it's just been heavy business for the last few years. I go in cycles.
Yeah.
Usually I just try to specialize my learning based on what I need the most. Sales was a big season. So right now I'm heavy in business. So I'm reading a lot of Jim Collins books.
Okay, awesome. We'll put some links down in the show notes so people can, check out those titles. That's awesome. How's your Netflix game? In
terms of what do I watch?
Yeah.
Strong.
Yeah. Okay. What's a recommendation? What's on your list of brain candy or?
So for me, Netflix at the end of the day is my escape.
Right.
Suits, amazing show. I love Suits. Huge fan.
Yeah.
What else? Bones. My wife and I are rewatching Bones.
Yeah, I've watched that I think 3 times, like the entire.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's great. New Girl is a great show.
Yeah, I love New Girl. That's good.
We're watching Dexter. Dexter's not on Netflix, but the old Dexter is. The new one isn't. Dexter, huge fan. I like documentaries. I'm weird with documentaries. There's a documentary called, oh my goodness, I don't remember the name of it, but it's about this group that kidnapped a pizza delivery guy and forced him to rob a bank.
Oh.
And there's a movie that came out that's based on this. And it is just one of the wildest twisty and turn documentaries you'll ever watch. I can't remember the name.
Did they put like a bomb on his neck or something?
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah.
It's a wild documentary. I think it's like 5 or 6 parts. And I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, I cannot believe this really happened. This is insane.
Yeah.
So I like stuff like that, twisty and turny stuff. I enjoy that very much.
Oh, right on. That's awesome. Oh, it's going to bug me now, the name of that. Oh, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. It'll come to us. I'll be trying to sleep tonight and it'll come to me, or you'll be trying to sleep and it'll come to you. I'll be like, oh,
yeah,
good,
there it is.
Good now.
Yeah, we'll know. Where do you travel? Do you like to travel?
I do. I just don't do it. Right now, we're very much in a grind season, right? We're only 7 years old. The business is only really seven or 8 years old. So we're really grinding. I went to Scotland with my wife earlier this year.
Oh, nice.
It was amazing. It was as beautiful as it looks in pictures. I couldn't believe it. I've been to London. I've done some traveling for speaking, but I haven't traveled as much as I want to. I think that'll be like 40s. When I'm in my 40s, I think I'll have more time to travel. Yeah.
Do you have any place on your travel list that you're like, oh, I got to get here?
Ireland is one for sure. I'm sure it's probably similar to Scotland, and then I'd love to go to Greece. I'd love to go to Italy. All of the places that people say.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm I'm not a rebel when it comes to the places I want to travel. I'll say that much.
Yeah. It's so cool though. I've been to Italy once and it's just wild to see just how old things are, right? Because in North America, we don't have that, right?
That was one of the things about Scotland. We went to castles that were, I don't know how many years old, but it was just very humbling to realize that this is so finite. The time we have is so finite, and most of the things around us are going to outlive us. And it's just this weird feeling.
What do you think of Eminem's new album?
What's the name of it? Is it the coup de grace, whatever it is?
Coup de grace.
I wasn't a fan.
No? Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. I'm not really a fan of the Slim Shady. I really appreciate his lyrical abilities more than I do the controversial stuff. I don't really, that's not really my stuff. There are a couple songs on there. I think it was Fuel with JID. That was a pretty strong song. Like, but I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan.
All right. Cool. I just had to ask because
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. If Eminem was, if you're going to pull him out from behind the curtain, I'll have nothing but nice things to say.
Marshall, I'd like to meet Kevin, because me and Marshall
are tight like that.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Yeah. Right.
He's my favorite. He is my favorite rapper of all time, but
he's the GOAT for sure.
People miss, it's hard to drop album after album after album after. Well, were you tapped in with the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef?
Not really. Yeah. No. Yeah, it's just not my world, really.
Well, you asked about Eminem, so I had to ask.
Yeah.
It would be unfair of me not to. Unfair.
Yeah, that was good. Oh my goodness. Pardon me.
No worries.
Your gotta ask. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Never.
Wow.
Never.
Strong. Right out of all right.
For me, at least. Again, my thing is, one of my core values is freedom. So you do what you want. You want to get pineapple, you get whatever you want. Pepperoni, well done, is pretty much where I live.
Okay. All right.
But I'll support you. If you want pineapple, you're welcome at my house anytime.
Oh, thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Of course. All right. That's good. Your car. Are you a car guy? You a motorcycle guy? You a bicycle guy?
Car guy.
Car guy.
Yeah, I would love a motorcycle. I think I'm too logical with how dangerous they are. I don't know if it's worth it, but I've always been a car guy, and I have aspirations of having a nice little fleet in the future. That's something that makes me very, very happy. Nice.
Vision board stuff.
Yes.
And what, are you like Aston Martin? Are you a muscle car? Classic American muscle?
I do like Aston Martin. My dream car, I have it here. It's a Mercedes AMG GTR. That is my dream car, but that's starting to shift. So I bought a BMW recently, so I might be going in the BMW direction. I don't know. I have to experiment.
Did you get an M series? Or
no, not yet. I'm not balling like that yet. No. In the future, I think the next one I would like to get is an M340i. That's the car I would like next, but everything is so expensive, and $1,000 or $1,200 a month for a car is just an insane, irresponsible amount.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Movie theater or stay at home?
Stay at home always.
Nice.
I'm a homebody. Okay,
cool. It's one of the things I'm noticing about this conversation, which I really, really love, is just you know yourself very well, and I think it's a weird thing to say, I think, but it's admirable because
I appreciate that.
A lot of people don't.
I appreciate that very much. The podcast I started was called Hyperconscious originally, and Hyperconscious is acutely aware. I want to know everything about myself because for most of my life I knew nothing, and that caused me so much pain and suffering. So I just want to. If I know about me, I know how I interact with the world. I feel like I'm more capable of controlling the future. So I appreciate that very much.
Well, that's great. There's these people in the world, and we call them rebels in waiting. And I kind of this is akin to Wile E. Coyote walking off of the cliff, and the moment before he realizes that there's no cliff underneath him anymore, and he looks down. These rebels in waiting are about to do a thing, whatever that happens to me. Maybe it's embark on a podcast, a speaking career, whatever it is, but it's outside of their comfort zone. They're going to say, fuck it, we're doing it. What advice do you have for these rebels in waiting to help them get there?
The people that support you will be louder and more meaningful than the people that don't. Because I know how scary it can be to start something new, especially when people see you as a certain person. Oh, you're a podcaster, you're a bodybuilder, you're this, you're a business owner, whatever. You do have a tribe, 1,000%. And when you find your tribe, everything is going to get a little bit better. So there's people out there that want to support you. You just might not know who they are yet.
Oh, that's awesome. Kevin, this has been amazing.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate this. I love flows, conversations like this. So I appreciate it very much. I don't take your time for granted. I appreciate the opportunity very much.
Oh, thanks, Kevin. Thanks so much. I appreciate everything that you bring to the world.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. Hey, if you're an artist, scientist, entrepreneur, or business owner who wants a smooth and proven method to find, shape, and share your story with the world, head on over to brandjitsu.com and order a copy of my book, Brand Jitsu, Move Your Brand from Meh to Memorable. I've been your host, Michael Dargie, and this has been the Rebel Rebel Podcast. It's a podcast for creative rebels and entrepreneurs all over the world. And hey, if you're a rebel or you know a rebel, head on over to the RebelRebelPodcast.com and fill out the guest request form. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time.